stories are one of the most valuable tools that we have. And people don't tell their story, they're not vulnerable enough to share their full story, where they're like, I was fluffy, and then I did P90X, and it's happy, and I'm like, oh, now, like, that's like the generic story. And everyone's like, oh, that's how you tell your story. So then they're like, well, I was fluffy, and then I did Pygo, and now I'm happy. Like, there's so much more. And I give a huge shout out to you for sharing, your story. Like, that is like the tough stuff to share. Like, yes, the Captain Hook stuff. And I think that's awesome because we all have stories. We all have experiences. We all have wisdom that other people don't have from our experiences. We all have things that we've collected along the way, and our job is we have to get back to that stuff, and we have to step away from the surface level coaching that so many people do. And I'm going to be bold and say some things that might put some people on the defense, or might put some people like, wow, did he really just say that to a bunch of coaches? Like, yes, I did, because I feel like it's my mission, my personal mission that I've taken on myself, is to really encourage coaches to coach, like to really get back to that baseline, like we are here to help people. We're here to help people, not here to help ourselves by helping people. We're here to help people. And everything else comes after that. And I think that has to be our focus, and I think that's been a big shift that's been happening in the company. We're getting back to that. But anyway, I started P90X in college at Penn State. Any Penn Staters here by chance? Awkward. So I went to Penn State University for music education, and I transferred to music performance. I was a professional band nerd, as I like to say. I played trumpet all day long. And it was great. I got really great at trumpet, but I got really bad at taking care of myself. It was one of those daily, downwards. How many of you have, been in good shape at one point in your life, and then like something happens, or you get distracted with something, and like eventually you just look at yourself and you're like, what happened to me? That was like my story, but it took 5 years of college to really like realize, wow, I can't even bend over to pick up my trumpets without throwing out my back now. And so that was frustrating. And one night I was laying on my bed in my apartment eating pizza, of all things, because they had a Papa John's right across the street from my apartment, and there was $7 pizza night on Thursdays. And telling me, preaching to the choir here. So I had a pizza, and I was sitting on my bed watching YouTube videos, eating pizza, dipping it in that butter sauce stuff. So good. Just have a moment for the butter sauce. And I saw this advertisement come up on YouTube. I was watching videos, random stuff, and ironically on YouTube, and I saw this guy come on, and his name was Wayne Wyatt. Anyone recognize the name Wayne Wyatt? He was top coach 2 years in a row, 2011 and 12, I think. And he gets on, and like, Beachbody's advertisements are awesome. He comes on, and he's like, whoosh, and he flexes, and lightning bolts shoot out of his abs, and like his pecs like punch me in the face, and he's totally ripped. And he's like, I did P90X, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I died, and they resuscitated me, and I'm ripped now. And he like picks up his kids with his arms, and he's like, don't do this program, it's too hard, P90X, too extreme. Like they were using kind of like, he didn't actually say that, but they kind of did that reverse psychology when they first started about, the most extreme home fitness. And they played it up to be this like almost untouchable program that only the like craziest people would ever dare to attempt, and it totally won me over. I was like, sign me up. So I want to die. Like I want to sign me up. So I got on Craigslist, and I bought it off of Craigslist, and I met this guy at a gas station parking lot. No joke, this is like a funny part of my story. I met this guy at a gas station parking lot. We're both wearing hoodies because it's November. It was right around this time. It was cold in Penn State. And we see each other from the opposite sides of the parking lot. We approach each other, and I was nervous, I know he was nervous, and I basically was just like, do you have the DVD? That was the first thing I said. I was like, do you have the DVDs? And he just was like, do you have the money? And we did this super awkward exchange where he gave me the DVDs, I gave him the money, and we both grabbed it, but neither of us like let go at first, so we were like afraid we were gonna get like lynched or something, or like stabbed. And it was like the healthiest drug deal that ever happened in Penn State. So I got P90X, got awesome results with it. I sort of transform myself overnight in my mind, and I'm one of those people that I can commit to something and just like laser focus on it until I just destroy it, and it's awesome. And I got really great results, and I naturally started doing what people with great results or great experience do. They just get on Facebook and they're like, look what I did, and I'm like this college guy like flexing my muscles, and I thought it was the best thing ever, and people were like, what do you do? And I said, I got on Craigslist and I bought it. There's a guy that's selling it for really cheap. So I was sending all these people to Craigslist, and I was sending all these people to eBay to buy sand and Shakeology bags for all I knew, like just get it cheaper, don't work with Beachbody, they're too expensive. And so I was coaching people. I was actually leading people in groups, and this guy caught wind of it, and he was a coach, and he invited me, and I said no immediately. So who's ever seen someone that's like absolutely crushing it and is like the best? Let's back up. Who's ever been working with someone and you're like, let's get you started, and then they come back to you the next day and they're like, oh, I got my stuff, I'm ready. And you're like, can we check my back office real quick? And then they're like, no, see, really? And they take a selfie with their Shakeology bag or something, and you're like, they bought it from somebody else, not you. Don't give up on those people. Who's ever had that experience? Yeah, I think we all have if we're trying to build this business. Or you will if you haven't yet. Don't give up on those people, because I was one of those people. If I had been working with someone at that point in time, I would have been that frustrating person that just didn't know. Like, I just had no clue. I saw it was a better price here. I didn't know that it was a Chinese cheap copy, and I bought it, and it worked for me, and it's the only reason I'm here today. So don't give up on those people, number one. Number two, how many of you have ever been working with someone, or you've coached someone in a challenge group, and you've poured into them, and you see so much potential in them, they're an amazing leader already, and you're like, I would love to invite you to become a coach because you're already an awesome coach and you're already doing more than I am. And they're immediately like, no, it's a pyramid scheme, don't want to be involved. Or no, I don't have the time. Or no, it's too expensive. Or no, I don't want to sell stuff to my friends and family. Or no, I don't want to be that pushy salesperson like you. And it's like you've all experienced that, right? Yeah. Some of you? Yeah. That was me too. Don't give up on those people either, because the reality is, they might just not believe in themselves enough yet to believe in what you're offering them. And our job as coaches is to educate these people and to also share our belief with them, because we have a perspective that maybe they don't have. We have a position in this business, we've experienced this, and we know what's here, and our job is to somehow take our belief and share some of that belief with these other people and help these people believe in themselves so that they can jump into this with us and believe in it for themselves, and then pay that forward and start that ripple effect going. So don't give up on those people, because if my coach had given up on me after the first invite, the first month of inviting, the first 6 months of inviting, the first year of inviting me, 2 years of inviting me, 3 years of inviting me to become a coach, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I'd be somewhere else. It took 3 years for me to finally come around to the fact that this is something I need to invest in. This is something I actually need to do. And I think all too often, us as coaches, we get discouraged. We get discouraged after 6 months of working with someone, or after 3 months, or after 3 weeks, or after 3 days of talking to someone even. Like, how many of you have been talking to someone for 3 days, and you're like, these people just don't get it. I gotta move on. These people just don't get it. Like, I just can't keep pouring into this person. I challenge you to broaden your scope a little bit and think about, okay, if it takes you 5 years to help this person believe in themselves a little bit, and then they go change the world because of it, will it be worth it? Will it be worth it for you guys to pour into that person and to do your job as a coach and teach them and encourage them and build them up for as long as it takes for them to go out and do something incredible with their lives? I think it is worth it. I know from my perspective, it was worth it for Will to hound me for 3 years. And he hounded me in all the wrong ways, and I learned a lot from him, but I appreciate him so much for never giving up on me, because if he had given up on me, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. So I became a coach after I had hit rock bottom, kind of. My rock bottom was very different from other people's rock bottoms. I had like the loveliest rock bottom, I think, compared to most people. I don't have heartbreaking experiences like you. I don't have the heartbreaking experiences like so many people, but for me, they were relative. How many of you heard her talk and you're like, wow, I can only imagine? I've never experienced something like that. But it doesn't change the reality that you guys experience. It doesn't change the fact that the hard things that you go through, whether it's like an ingrown toenail or whatever, is devastating in the moment. Like it's like, what is, my life is falling apart. Like, the ingrown toenails are like, okay. But like, you're like, maybe you got fired from a job or something that you depended on. In comparison, if you're comparing, which I hate that word, comparing is, it's evil. But if you're comparing, it's like there's no comparison. Like losing a sibling like that, like going through what she went through and what you're going through, it's like you downplay it and you're like, well, I guess it doesn't really, I have no place. I have no reason to be sharing my story because someone else is going through something so much more traumatic. Someone else has got such a better story. And that's so not true because what you're going through is real, no matter where you are right now. And I realized that, because I graduated from college and was burnt out with music, I couldn't stand the thought of going into music. That was part of my story. The fact that I tried getting into the military for warrant officer flight training, and that didn't work out. That's part of my story. The fact that I went to state police, and I failed the polygraph. I lied. No, I didn't actually, it was funny. They actually failed everyone on the polygraph because they ran out of funding and they didn't bring anyone in. But it was hard because all these things like kept happening. It's like no door that I'm trying to walk through here. I mean well, and my heart is in the right place, and I want to help people, and I want to like serve. I want to do something. I want to work hard. And all these doors kept slamming in my face. It was really challenging for me. And I got my pilot's license. That didn't work out. I still have my pilot's license, but I wasn't an airline pilot or anything. I got my contractors. I started working with a contractor and building houses and remodeling stuff, and I hated that. And finally, I just like kicked the bucket and was like, well, I just guess I'll go bus tables and serve and wait people, at a restaurant. Who's ever worked in a restaurant before? Who like hates restaurant stress? Anyone? Who loved the restaurant? Who loved? Yeah, you guys are. I like not worthy. Like you guys are awesome because that was the perfect kind of stress for me to just wreck me emotionally. I was a grown man and I would literally sit in my car before I went into my shifts and cry. I would seriously sit out there and cry, and like other people would pull in for their shift and be like, "Hey, Caleb!" Like through the window, I'm like, "What's going on?" And then I'd go in and I'd like somehow keep it together throughout my shift, and it was miserable and it wrecked me. And the turning point for me, I'll get to the end of my story here. The turning point for me was one night I was in the restaurant and I was just, we were understaffed. It was crazy. There was like busfuls of people pulling into the parking lot. I'd gotten stiffed multiple times that night. It was like the worst night ever. And I walked into the kitchen and I was just about to say something to someone else about like how miserable I was, basically, because I was super negative at that point. And I opened my mouth to talk, and someone threw a plate into one of those like soaking bins. Those soaking bins where people put like the crusty stuff to like soak the goo off or like soak the crud off. And he threw the plate in, and it splattered. And like all the mayonnaise and ketchup and like chewed up meat that they spat back out on their plate was in there, and it splattered all over my face as my mouth was open, and it's like running down my neck, all over my shirt. And as funny as it is now, at that moment I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is not what I was designed to do. Some people are, I'm not. Like, I know I have a calling on my life. I know I have a purpose, and I know it's not here. And I just, at that moment, that was like my rock bottom. It's not anywhere near as dramatic as I can tell in a fun story, but it wasn't anywhere near as dramatic, but it was real for me, and that was the moment where I just made my mind up, and I said, I don't even care if that thing is a pyramid scheme. Like, I don't even care anymore. Just, I got to try something different, and I signed up for Beachbody coaching, and I found out that it was everything that I thought it wasn't. It wasn't everything that I thought it was. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not like this slimy salesperson thing. It was actually like, you sign up and you help people. That is the number one mission. Like, I don't even know what the email says anymore when they sign you up, but when you sign up, they send you that welcome email. It's like, we exist to help people live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. And as soon as I got that email and I saw it, I was like, yeah, like I align with that. I'm here to serve. I'm here to do this. And right when I stepped into the business, I kind of had my eyes open to the idea that I can truly be authentically myself, just like she was saying. And I'm going to piggyback on some of the things that she was saying about, you lead authentically, lead who you're supposed to be. And so often in this business, this is where I want to start challenging you guys. So often we come into this and we immediately start looking at other people. How many of you sign up as a coach and you were given, with the best of intentions, you were given people to follow? Like maybe your upline said, these are like the top 10 coaches, maybe follow them on social media, see what they're doing. So how many of you guys how many of you people follow other coaches in business? Yeah. So that was like the first thing that I did. I got in and I followed Scotty Hobbs, and I followed Lindsay Matt Wayne, I followed Lindsay Stay, and I followed Tracy Morrow, and I followed Josh Spencer, and I followed like all these coaches that had been already established. And I started looking at what they were doing. And I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because it's working for all of them. And the reality was, when I started doing those things, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. And I have a fun analogy that I want to share with you guys. And I think some of you have already heard the puzzle analogy. How many of you heard my puzzle piece analogy? A couple of you. Okay, so you're going to hear this again. But little backstory. My grandfather is the most generous man in the world, in my mind. He is the most generous man in the world, and he gave back to our family in the form of a vacation lodge. We have land in our family, and his life dream was to give us a place that we could join together as a family and be together and grow together for years and years and years and years and years. And that's what he saved all his money for, and he did it just the past couple of years. And he built this place up, and I'm not sharing this to make you jealous or think I'm just like focused on material, because I'm not at all. But this place is beautiful. You have to picture it. It's like floor-to-ceiling windows. You put an elevator in it, like you don't need an elevator, but that's how he thinks. Like he wants to bless us. If someone needs to get upstairs and they can't, he already has that planned out. He knows that we'll be able to still enjoy that place. He put in like 2 fireplaces on the same floor. Like it's absolutely beautiful. And out of all the places in that entire property, in that entire lodge, his favorite place is over here in a corner, in the back of the loft, with one little window, and there's a card table, a little cheap Walmart card table, right? And he sits there on one side, and he's got a little lamp, and there's a piano right here that he bought for his wife, my grandmother, and she sits there and she plays her Sunday hymns, because she still plays piano for our church. And then he sits here and he does a puzzle, and they love it. And they're like the cute couple from the movie Up. They're like the real life version of that. And she'll play a hymn, and he'll be like, "It was really nice, Barbara. I really liked that one," even though he's heard it like 600 times. And one day I was up there at the lodge with them, and he was doing his puzzle. She was playing piano, and he just looked up at me one time and held up a puzzle piece, and he said, "Did you ever think about a puzzle piece, Caleb?" And I said, "No, not really." He said, "Do you ever think about how perfectly imperfect it is in every way?" I said, "No, not really." And he said, "Yeah, think about it. Every single puzzle piece is different in some way. It has boops and ahs on it." And he always makes fun stuff up, but he named the little bumps that come out boops, and he named the little holes ahs, boops and ahs. And he said, "Yeah, every single puzzle piece has their own unique boops and ahs, and every puzzle piece has a different picture. And isn't it crazy to think that no 2 puzzle pieces are exactly the same, and yet they all have a place only they can fill. And when every single piece comes together and goes to the place that only they can fill, they come together and they make this awesome picture. They come together and they create something greater than the sum of all their parts. Like you can get an experience, like, and he just kind of blew my mind when I was thinking about it, because I was like, well, no, I haven't really thought about a puzzle piece that deeply. But he said, yeah, it's kind of neat, isn't it? And how true is that for us? Like, how true is that for us? We all have individual boops and ahs. We all have, different sizes and shapes and cuts and things that have changed us into the people that we are today. And even if we had all the same boops and ahs and the exact same shape, our picture on the top is totally different. Like the colors, the shading is totally different. There are things about you that only you have. Like, only you have. And too often we downplay it, or we say, well, that's not what this person has, so I'm going to make my puzzle piece fit over here. And even if I have to turn everything upside down to hide that stuff. I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to go over here. But what happens when you turn the puzzle piece upside down? Like, you totally step away from the person God designed you to be specifically. And you're like boring. You look like every other puzzle piece that's upside down. You're gray. You're like, there's nothing special. But when you acknowledge who you are supposed to be, you acknowledge the purpose that God gave you specifically, you would acknowledge exactly what you are supposed to be and exactly where only you are supposed to go. And everyone does that, awesome things can happen. Awesome things can happen. Do you guys like that analogy?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's a challenge that kind of comes along with this. If you decide to pull your puzzle piece out of the puzzle, if you say a couple years down the road, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you decide, I've been at this for 3.5 years. I've been a coach for 3.5 years. I've been at this for 3.5 years, and I'm still a diamond coach. I've been at this for 3.5 years, and I've not been recognized on stage one time yet. I've been a coach for 3.5 years, and other coaches have been a coach for a quarter of that time, and they're 15-star diamond. I've been a coach for 3.5 years, and I don't get any of the recognition. I don't get any of the income. I struggle paying my bills because I'm a full-time coach, and this is my only income. I'm a coach for 3.5 years now, and I'm losing more coaches than I'm bringing in. I'm a coach for 3.5 years now, and I'm just learning the importance of running excellent challenge groups. I'm a coach for 3.5 years now, and I'm where I am. I'm probably not cut out for this. So I'm going to pull my puzzle piece out of the equation here and go do something else. What happens if you're one of those crazy edge pieces, or you're supposed to connect to one of those crazy edge pieces that can only connect to you? What happens if you pull yourself out of the puzzle because you think this just isn't for you, because maybe you think you're losing belief, but you're really just becoming impatient and you want the results faster? What happens if you believe that you're not cut out for this? That person that can only connect to you doesn't get their opportunity, because there's people in your lives that can only connect to you. There's people in your circle of influence where it doesn't matter if there's 10 billion more coaches on this planet hounding them to join challenge groups, hounding you to join this opportunity to take part in this with you. It doesn't matter how many other people are, because I believe so strongly God put us in this community for a reason, and we're supposed to communicate with each other. And if we don't take steps out, there's going to be someone in your circle of influence that won't get their opportunity because you specifically didn't give it to them. And that means they don't get their opportunity, which means somebody else won't get their opportunity, which means 10 more people won't get their opportunity, which means 1,000 more people won't get theirs, which means 1,000,000 more won't get their influence, which means a huge part of our world population, if you're being really real about this. Who's ever heard the 5th degree of connection, or the 3rd degree, or whatever? We're connected with everyone in the world if you just go 5 steps away from you. That is our business. That's why network marketing is so powerful. That's why what we're doing is so insane. And it starts right here. It starts right here. And you guys have a responsibility. So I want to challenge you to leave. If you leave with nothing else from today, realize that you have a responsibility. So who's going through hard times? Who's going through tough times? You can be honest. Who's been struggling a little bit? And I wish things were moving faster. If you don't wish it was moving faster, you're weird. But that's part of it. And the thing is, you're being set up perfectly. And I the reason I share some of those vulnerable things with you, that I struggle sometimes paying my bills, even though I'm this Beachbody famous coach, because that's my story. And it's real, that's authentic, that's what I'm experiencing. And I know 10 years from now, it's not gonna be my story. I know that in time, I'm not gonna be struggling to pay my bills. In time, I'm not gonna be worrying about the little things that I'm worrying about. But that's who I am right now. And does anyone feel like they can maybe relate to that? Is anyone yeah, cool. Here's another challenge. Do you think you would walk away with as much value from me if I got up here and said, only, guys, let me teach you how to get 125,000 followers on Facebook. Let me teach you how to blow it up Let me teach you how to recruit 400 coaches in 3.5 years. Let me teach you how to do all these awesome things. And I teach you those things and don't tell you any of the behind-the-scenes struggle. Would that encourage you as much? Right. So I want to challenge you guys, when you leave and you go back to your business and you go back to your social medias, don't just give the highlight reels. Like, don't just share what's shiny with your followers, and get into the trenches and say, like, hey, my feet are muddy too. Like, this is the reality of what I'm going through. And what happens when you do that is you create this bridge over to these people's hearts that they immediately say, well, if they can do that, and if they can be so positive, if they can be where I am, but still be choosing to make these positive choices with their business and still be making forward progress with their life and like be pursuing that. Have you guys ever, they're gonna wanna join you, they're gonna wanna do it. Have you guys ever seen that analogy where there's a guy who's standing in New York City, he's on a sidewalk somewhere, and he's like, you guys see that? How many of you just looked? How many of you just looked up there? Like, I'm right there on the sidewalk with all those people, but I'm influencing just because I'm so focused on getting to a certain point. I'm so focused on, like, guys, everyone in here, look up there. Like, look at the top of that chandelier. Like, look, that's all it takes. It requires you guys to be so focused on where you want to go and where you know other people want to go, and connect with those people and build a story with them. Like, this is not just about us. And that kind of goes back to our whole, the Team Beachbody deal is like we exist to help people live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives, not to help ourselves live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. We exist to help other people live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. And that requires some sacrifice, that requires some vulnerability, that requires some tough leadership, that requires some scary moments where you share things like you're scared to share. That requires you to step out of the spotlight and pull someone else into it and say, you're awesome. We can both do this together. So, the last little tidbit, and I don't know if you have time, it could be questions, or I don't know. But the last little tidbit I wanted to share with you guys is just to, we focus so much on the quantifiable things in the business. But if I asked you right now to put your hands up, if you've experienced something in this business that's so good and so positive, but it's hard to put words to, how many of you would put your hands up? Yeah, the unquantifiable things. The things in Beachbody, the things in Team Beachbody, or the community, or the experience, or the feeling, or like when you hear someone talk and it resonates with you, or like you get a reward from it that you never would have been able to anticipate, like the unquantifiable things, I think we need to focus more on that stuff. I think we need to focus more on that stuff, because what happens when you get the quantifiable stuff? What happens when you get the income you want? What happens when you get the recognition you want? What happens when you, set a rank goal and then you crush it? Like, what happens? You set another rank goal and you crush it. You set another income goal and you get more income. You set another goal to walk across the stage for another form of recognition. You set another goal to be top coach again. You set another goal to be more millionaire. You set another goal to, like, all these things are quantifiable, but they, in my mind, in my heart, and this is where I might be different from a lot of people, they don't hold the same value as the unquantifiable things, the unquantifiable rewards that corporate can't recognize, that corporate can't put you on the national coach call about, that corporate can't say, like, good job because you got that thing. Like, you don't know how to, I'm so convicted and so, like, sure that my mission in becoming a Beachbody coach, I'll be completely blunt with you, my mission is to share the love of Jesus with as many people as possible just by loving on you guys, just by loving on y'all. I love you, and you're beautiful, and I'm so like thankful that I have this platform to be able to talk to people. There's a stage there, and just pour into you guys, and that's like how I like
share the love that I have in my heart, and hopefully it adds value to you guys. But I think we just need to, I totally lost my train of thought because I talked about Jesus. You didn't think I was taking to church on Sunday. The reality is I think so many people are focused on the short-term quantifiable goals, and I think such a huge focus needs to be shifted to, like, you can't put into words, you can't, like, we talk about who's lost weight, who's lost like a lot of weight, who's like life has completely radically changed because of this business. Right. So could I say, y'all, that's 2 Success Club points. That right there is 2 Success Club points. Because that's what we do. That's so often what we do. We say, you know, that was worth 2 Success Club points. Success Club 10.
That's a new friend.
Yeah, that's something so much more than Success Club points. That's something
that's
so
the
much.
Quantifiable thing.
What's that?
That's the quantifiable
Right,
thing,
the
where it's not
points.
the recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. The points are the quantifiable thing, and we focus so much on that. But I could ask him to stand up here and tell his story, and you guys won't be thinking about Success Club points at all, but we so often make that the focus. We so often make the focus the income, the low check we got, like, oh, I must be doing something wrong. Like, I had someone ask me on Friday, I spoke to another team on Friday on the way down here, and they said, Caleb, I have a question for you. I'm really, really struggling. They said, I ran a challenge group, no one bought anything, no one used Shakeology, they all stuck with it, and it was great, but no one bought anything, and I'm like really struggling. And I said, well, did they get a great experience? And they're like, yeah, they loved it, they're coming back for my next month. And the one lady, she lost this much weight, and one guy, he like totally turned his life around, and I was like, then what's the problem? Then what's the problem? Like, you're focusing on you're focusing on quantifying all this stuff. And yes, it's a business. We run a business. We have to be business people and entrepreneurs. But that is not our focus, people. Like, we have to focus on the unquantifiable. Like, how do you put into words someone how do you put into words someone like feeling good about getting naked in front of their husband? I know, like, getting super, like, edgy. I'm a Christian. Like how do you quantify that? You're like, well, that's obviously 2 Success Club points. No, it's not. Like, how do you quantify a single mother that's like more confident in mothering her children? How do you quantify a guy that is breaking away from an alcohol addiction because now he like realizes the importance of like helping his body thrive with like good nutrition and workouts? And how do you quantify? I have a major faith component in my challenge group. How do I quantify someone giving their heart back to the Lord because of my challenge group? Well, it's 2 Success Club points. That doesn't work for me. And I think we got to remember. I'll wrap this up right now. I think we got to remember that we serve a purpose that's greater than health and fitness. We serve a purpose that's greater than business. We serve a purpose that's greater than our goals. We serve a purpose that's greater than just making money or getting recognition or there's a greater thing at work here, and it involves a lot more people than just you. So I think we got to take our laser-focused spotlight and go, okay, there's a lot of people out here that I'm supposed to be influencing. There's a lot of people out here that I'm supposed to be speaking to. There's a lot of people out here that I'm supposed to be pouring into. There's a lot of people out here that need what we specifically have to offer with Team Beachbody. And that's our job. That's our purpose. And it's greater than a lot of what we focus on. So there's your challenge. I hope I didn't make anyone too uncomfortable. But do you guys have any questions or anything specifically you'd like to ask? Yes. Nikki's mom.
So who do you like who's a mentor, like a public mentor, like a Tony Robbins, a Darren Hardy? Who do you like?
I signed up with John C. Maxwell's mentor program. Mm-hmm. For me, for my stage of the business, for my income, if we're talking about money, it was a huge investment for me. Huge. It was like a terrifying investment. Tracy Morrow and I are connected. I just like she said about going out to people that you're supposed to talk to or you feel like led to talk to. I felt led to talk to Tracy Morrow, so I reached out to her. We connected, and she hooked me into John C. Maxwell's online mentoring program.
which is was a big investment for me, but it was returned to me in unquantifiable ways.
Cool.
So John C. Maxwell's a big person
Mhm.
I follow. Yeah. Who do you guys follow? Any like Tony Robbins or John Acuff or John Maxwell? Follow these people. Like
I went to Tony Robbins, his Unleash whatever the Power Within
Mhm.
conference. Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. I did that last year.
Did you walk on fire?
I did.
Did you?
I
was it
didn't get
hot?
burned. Yeah, that's great. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything else? Guys, I love you so much, and I'm so thankful that you guys listen and like you're beautiful. Like you look out in the audience. I look out to the people that I speak to, and it's like you guys are beautiful.